We tend to think of philosophy as beginning in Greece, maybe stretching east to Persia, west to Rome. Occasionally we remember Confucius, but buried under that Eurocentric scaffolding is a much older lineage. One not of stone temples, but of sacred sounds, of sages, not statesmen. Today, we're talking about Bharadvāja, a Rishi of the Vedic age, a poet of hymns, a teacher of Ayurveda, and, if you believe certain fringe historians, a pioneer of aeronautics. Welcome to a story where myth, medicine, and metaphysics meet, where philosophy was sung, not written, and where wisdom meant more than words. It meant life. Let's get one thing straight. Bharadvaja is not easy to define. He's not a single man you can pin to a date. He's a lineage, a name, a voice that echoes across millennia. You'll find him in the Rigveda, one of the oldest known texts in any language, composed somewhere between 1500 and 1200 BCE. In those hymns, Bharadvāja is both a seer and a poet, a rishi, meaning one who sees the cosmic order deta. In Vedic tradition, knowledge wasn't invented, it was revealed, like tuning into a frequency that was always playing. According to lore, Bharadvāja lived for 300 years. Then, dissatisfied, he begged Indra, king of the gods, for more knowledge. Indra gave him 3 handfuls of grass and said, "This is but a fraction of what remains." It's an allegory, of course. Even the longest life only brushes the edge of wisdom. Bharadvāja wasn't just a person. He was the origin of a gotra, a spiritual and ancestral line of teachers and scholars. His descendants include prominent sages like Dronacharya in the Mahabharata, the military teacher of both the Pandavas and Kauravas. And yes, that Drona. Which means Bharadvaja's influence leaks into epic, martial, and even political domains. This gotra system wasn't just biological, it was epistemological, passing not just DNA, but dharma, ethical duty, cosmic knowledge, and ritual responsibility. You weren't just born into a family. You were born into a discipline. Let's talk about the Rigveda. It's not philosophy in the modern Western sense. There are no arguments, no syllogisms, no numbered premises, but make no mistake, it is deeply philosophical. The hymns of Bharadvāja probe the nature of fire, breath, sacrifice, and time. They're poems, yes, but poems designed to align the mind with the cosmos. One of his hymns, Book 6, Hymn 1, is dedicated to Agni, the fire god, not as a being with a beard and a temper, but as the principle of transformation. Agni, come with all the gods, O bearer of the oblation. 'Tis about fire as a mediator between the visible and invisible, between mortal effort and divine order. Think of Agni as the original bridge between thermodynamics and theology. If that sounds like a stretch, that's because Vedic thought doesn't divide disciplines. Physics, ethics, language, they're all entangled. Now for something that raises modern eyebrows. Bharadvāja is often credited with foundational contributions to Ayurveda, the Indian system of medicine. According to the Karaka Samhita, one of the core Ayurvedic texts, Bharadvāja was the sage who first received this knowledge from the god Indra. He then passed it to other sages and healers. Ayurveda isn't just folk medicine. It's based on a philosophy of balance, the interplay of the 3 doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, each corresponding to elements, energies, and physiological processes. It views health as harmony, not just of the body, but of mind, diet, climate, and even karma. Disease, in this model, is a misalignment of self and world. Bharadvaja's role here isn't just as a recipient of divine knowledge, it's as a transmitter of systemic thinking. Medicine as cosmology, healing as philosophy. It's time to talk about Vimanas. In the 20th century, a controversial text surfaced, the Vaimanika Shastra, allegedly channeled by a mystic in 1918, but attributed to Bharadvaja. It describes flying machines, propulsion systems, even aerial combat strategy. Think Da Vinci meets the Mahabharata on acid. Most historians agree the text is not ancient. It contains anachronisms, mechanical impossibilities, and terminology from the modern era. Still, the idea sticks. And while the Vimana theory might not hold up to aerospace scrutiny, it speaks to something deeper, a long-standing Indian tradition of speculative science, of blending imagination with metaphysics. Whether Bharadvāja designed flying machines or not, the impulse behind the myth is unmistakably philosophical. What if? What could be? It's a form of early science fiction, but rooted in spiritual inquiry. Philosophy in Bharadvaja's world was not about originality, it was about transmission. The Vedas were never written down until much later. Knowledge was memorized, chanted, lived. Accuracy wasn't about citation, it was about embodiment. The oral tradition Bharadvaja was part of is one of the most sophisticated mnemonic cultures in human history. Reciting a hymn wasn't just speech, it was metaphysical alignment. In this sense, Bharadvaja was less a philosopher of speculation and more a philosopher of pattern recognition, of attuning human thought to cosmic form. He was a kind of metaphysical musician, composing in frequencies the universe could recognize. So why don't we talk about Bharadvaja? Why is he absent from most introductions to philosophy, from most syllabi, from most timelines? The answer is as much political as it is historical. Colonial historiography marginalized non-Western thinkers as mystical or pre-rational. The very form of Vedic thought, its poetry, its spirituality, its refusal to fit tidy definitions, made it suspect in Enlightenment eyes. That's exactly why Bharadvaja matters today. So what do we take from Bharadvaja in 2025? First, that knowledge is never siloed. You can be a healer and a poet, a cosmologist and a sage. You can think with the body, the breath, and the stars. Second, that wisdom is collaborative and intergenerational. Bharadvaja is not a solitary genius. He's a node in a living web. And third, that philosophy is not just argument. It's rhythm, it's resonance, it's relation. The modern world could use a little more of that. Bharadvaja might not have left us treatises, no dialogues, no disputations, just verses, lineages, echoes, but sometimes the oldest truths aren't shouted, they're sung, and if you listen closely, you might still hear them. So, that's Bharadvaja, a figure woven from poetry, philosophy, and a fair amount of mystery. Maybe a sage, maybe a scientist, maybe something even more interesting, a reminder that the boundaries between those things weren't always so clear. But what do you think? Do you see Bharadvaja as a philosopher in the way we use that word today? Or do figures like him challenge how we even define philosophy? I'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments whether you're new to this world or you've been reading the Vedas in your spare time. And if you enjoy these quiet dives into overlooked corners of philosophy, feel free to subscribe. More stories, more strange and brilliant thinkers are on the way.